My name is Katie. I've been a police officer for 7 years. I was working in patrol the night of August 29, 2010, which is the night that I got in my shooting. I had just assisted a deputy on a traffic stop, and as I pulled away from the traffic stop, I started traveling northbound on a neighborhood street. As I got halfway down the street, there was a parking lot on the west side of the street, and I noticed a subject in the middle of the parking lot with his back towards me. As I noticed him, he noticed me because he jumped as if I had startled him. So my first thought was he's up to no good. So I pulled my car over and I parked it, and I was about to get out of it, but before I had a chance to even open my door, the subject turned on me with an assault rifle and started firing shots at my patrol car. My first reaction was a shocked reaction. I couldn't believe it was actually happening. But immediately I started thinking, I have to get my gun out. I need to start shooting back at this guy. I was also at the same time thinking that my head's in this window and I was afraid that a bullet was going to take my head off, so I thought I needed to lean over in my car to get out of the window. So I leaned over in my car, I went for my gun. There's a retention on my gun, but I don't remember undoing the locking mechanism on my gun. I just remember thinking I need to get my gun out and then having my gun out. As soon as I got my gun out, I put it out my window and started firing on the subject who had been advancing on me as I was getting my gun out and was still firing his weapon. As soon as I started firing my weapon back at him, he took off running down the fence line and disappeared into the backyard. I could tell I'd been shot. I didn't know how many times or the severity of the shots, but I could tell that I was shot, so I immediately thought I need to get on the radio, I need to tell dispatch what happened, and I also need to tell them where this guy ran to so officers responding will know. So I get on the car radio, I make a dispatch call, and I tell them where I'm at, I tell them where the suspect took off running to, and advised them that I'd been shot, that I was going to need medical personnel. After that, I made the decision I needed to go chase after this guy because I wanted to, one, either catch him, or two, I wanted to see where he was going so officers responding can set up a perimeter and lock him into a certain area. So I open my car door, I get out, I go to take off running, and I realize my legs aren't working properly and realized I was not going to be able to run after the suspect. At that time, I'm still kind of listening to my surroundings, and I'm not hearing any kind of sirens or anything like that in the background. So my thought was maybe my radio traffic did not get out. So I got my handheld radio off my belt, and I made another radio call telling him I'd been shot, telling the suspect was running westbound, and that I needed medical personnel. From there, several people arrived. I was taken to the hospital. They told me that I had been shot 6 times. The suspect was able to fire 26 rounds at my car. 23 actually went into my car and 6 hit me. One of the first shots, I believe, is because I believe it was when I was looking at him before I leaned over in my car to get out of the window, grazed my right cheek and went through my right ear. I was struck in the center mass in my upper body, and then 1 in my back. Those 2 rounds were able to be stopped by my bulletproof vest due to them traveling through the car first. It was a .223 round, but it was able to travel through the car first. It slowed it down just enough to where my bulletproof vest could catch it. Twice in my left butt cheek, which affected my sciatic nerve, and then once in my right calf. So it's very important that you practice with whatever holster you're going to carry and practice and getting your gun out so that it just gives you that muscle memory, so when things happen, that's one less thing you have to think about. You don't have to think about undoing your holster. You'll automatically react. During the actual shooting part of the incident, I remember when the suspect turned on me and started firing. I heard the initial 1 or 2 first shots that he fired at me, and then after that the sound went away. All I could remember seeing is the muzzle flash of his gun. And that muzzle flash continued. It was just a repetitive muzzle flash. I didn't hear the sound, but I could tell he was not going to stop shooting, and he had started walking towards me, advancing on me. I do not remember hearing my gun at all. I was not hearing his gun either. I just started firing back at the muzzle flash from his gun. I'm not sure how many rounds I fired. I just kept on firing. And as soon as I started firing, he started retreating. He took off running, and I continued firing until he disappeared.